11th Hour, an audio drama by Patricia, Asedegbega.
Episode 1.
I don't understand. You're upset about what exactly?
Gladys stared at Helen, a spoonful of ice cream halfway to her mouth. Helen, in turn, sent a puzzled look in the girl's direction, searching for the words to express how she was feeling. Luckily, Agnes, the third member of their little group, beat her to it.
Gladys, you never cease to amaze me.
Agnes shook her head, glaring at the girl in question.
What kind of question is that? Is she meant to jump for joy, hearing her fiancé describe her in such words, 3 weeks before their wedding? Sometimes I wonder which planet you live on, because it's definitely not ours. Wasn't it you who got upset when that guy you dated, what's that his name? I forget his name, said you looked fat in a dress. So why do you think Helen wouldn't want to feel appreciated by her husband-to-be?
But did he lie? See, baby, we've been friends for over 15 years. We should be able to tell each other the truth. Helen, you're a very good person, but the man is right. You are what one would describe as an ordinary-looking person. Don't get me wrong. To know you is to love you. But Chris's answer to the question was a plain truth. He saw that and still proposed. That should tell you that it's love.
Gladys, sometimes, Helen, I don't know why Helen includes you in her conversations when there's serious matter on the table. Your advice is always terrible. Helen, look, just take a deep breath. I understand how upsetting it is, but you said that you didn't hear the rest of his reply. You know, Tunde has never liked you. Maybe Chris was just trying to change the conversation. Yes, he could have said a number of things, but sometimes we don't react the way we should and kick ourselves afterwards when 1,000,001 alternatives come to mind. More worrying is that Tunde said that Bettina is back. I really hope that the phone call was a wish you all the best one and that she isn't looking for anything more.
I just feel like the girl that appears after a number of episodes in the telenovela. You know, the one who comes in when the main characters who are in love parted ways. The same girl that helps the handsome main actor get his life together. The one he proposes to. And then, when they are both standing at the altar, the real love of his life appears. Then the girl at the altar just fades away into oblivion. I've always thought it was most unfair. How two people can hurt each other so much. And then, almost 300 episodes later, the man or the good woman has to step aside for the happily ever after ending. That's one that the 98% of the audience is craving. That's exactly how I'm feeling right now. Like I've lost and...
Hey, stop with the crazy talk now, Helen. How did you go from 0 to 100 in less than 2 hours? Okay, let me help you summarize your situation because you seem to think that you have a lot of options here. No one understands how you of all people, Helen, got Chris Jacobs to ask you out on a date and then start a relationship. This is a mystery that people would pay money to know the answer to. How did you get him to propose to you? You, Helen. Okay, you get the proposal. The family meets your family. A date is set. There's a terrible row between the parents about which church the marriage should be celebrated in. We all fear that all is lost as no party is budging. But thankfully, the elders come to their senses. And I get to be in your bridal train. And you are here, asking yourself stupid questions. Honestly, Helen, count your blessings. So. Once again, you are self-sabotaging. It's what you always do.
Gladys, be quiet, I beg. Waiting. Once again, you evidently came here only to eat. Your advice is useless. Helen has every right to be worried. First of all, Helen, Chris is lucky to have you. Stop with the self-doubt. You've come a long way. Believe it, you deserve the best. Next, I think what you have to do is to have a proper conversation with him. He never gave you a proper explanation as to why himself and Bettina broke up. So I think you should speak to him and then you can put things to rest. Just don't overthink things, okay?
I've tried asking a few times. He just gave curt answers. So I let it go. His words took me to a dark place. And now I'm just wondering if it's not a sign. 3 weeks to the wedding. Maybe it's my cue to exit. I'm just having so many...
Exit. Wait, Helen. Let's be real. You are a 34-year-old woman who's had a number of failed relationships. Is there something you aren't telling us? Is there a suitor waiting for you to break up with Chris? Because look, you can't do any better. Unless you go from Chris to his cousin, Alex. And I'm not sure that will be doing any better. Plus, Alex has not looked at another woman since Gabrielle Ibrahim walked into the scene. No. It's 3 weeks to your wedding. Invites have been sent out. People have spent a lot of money on their outfits. Your families have spent a lot of money on the preparations and you're here worrying about nonsense. No, Helen. We've invested a lot in this. You can't back up now. You just can't.
We've invested. Gladys, once again, nothing you've said has been helpful. Every time either Helen or I had relationship problems, you've always advised that we stay put. Stanley was verbally abusive to Helen. We only found out because we saw how he spoke to her during a birthday party she prepared for him. You said it was no big deal, that at least he hadn't hit her. Abel cheated on me. You said I was to forgive him and stay, and I was stupid enough to listen to you. Can you imagine? Then he cheated again. Look, I agree that Helen shouldn't make a hasty decision, but the decision is hers and hers alone to make, and my job as our friends is to support her. You just want all of us to be married. Then, if happiness comes along, it will be a welcome coincidence. But if not, oh, tough luck. Honestly, Gladys, eat your ice cream and don't annoy me anymore, I beg.
Gladys opened her mouth to protest, but one look in Agnes' direction made her fill it up with another spoon of ice cream instead. Helen watched both her friends. The meeting had not at all been productive. All she felt like doing was running away. Yes, that was exactly what she would do. Pack up her bags and leave. That was what the second main actress in the telenovela did. She exited the scene gracefully. Why marry a man that didn't love her? Or worse, still wait for him to start the conversation with the words, "Helen, I'm so sorry." It had been 2 days since Helen had overheard the conversation. 19 days to her wedding, and she still hadn't spoken to Chris or run away. Helen sighed as she cut into a piece of material.
No, I have not done anything to clarify the situation. But here I am, making a dress for one of the guests. Helen, is this how you're going to sort this out? Will you be able to walk up the altar and make your vows feeling the way you do? It's probably no big deal. I must be making a mountain out of a molehill. After all, I didn't get to hear the start of the conversation between Tunde and Chris. And on the other hand, I did hear enough. Tunde was trying to dissuade Chris one more time from marrying me. Should I let Tunde win? My life shouldn't be this much of a competition.
Helen waved the scissors in the air as she spoke.
Helen, you know, some people would say that speaking to yourself is not a good sign.
Helen jumped up at the unexpected voice. Putting down the scissors, she had smiled nervously at her stepmother, who had just walked into her shop. The woman sat down heavily as she eyed Helen.
You didn't reply my message this morning. The wedding planner called me because the caterer needs an answer. When can Chris and you go for the final tasting? His parents, your dad and I will be joining you. And we need to coordinate it all. Honestly, Helen, you need to be more cooperative. Your father and I are bending over backwards to make your day special. It's most annoying when people don't reply messages.
I'm sorry, Mommy. I'll get an answer from Chris and get back to you this evening.
Good. Now, how is my third dress going? You know I have to change at least 4 times. Chris's mom can't outdo me, you know.
Of course, like the other two, no payment had been mentioned. Helen dared not to bring it up. When she had before, she was reminded that she had been clothed and fed by her parents all through her childhood, teenage, and even her adult years. Helen didn't mind suing for close family members for free, but her stepmother and 2 stepsisters, Rita and Eunice, had chosen very expensive fabrics for their designs. Helen hadn't even had them in her shop. She had to go to buy them when she saw nobody was giving her any money for anything.
Not bad at all. You can sew in the last buttons here. I'll send Angela for it tomorrow. I prefer having it at home and not in all this chaos you have here. Helen, I'll be back in a few moments. I have the style on my phone for my 4th dress.
The woman eyed all the materials Helen had stacked up in different parts of her workshop as she walked towards the changing room to take off her dress. A moment later, she emerged, scrolled up on her mobile, and showed Helen the dress she had wanted.
Mommy, if you want that specific material and that much beadwork, you will have to get them and bring them to the shop yourself. I had to go to different markets to get the last ones for you and the girls, and I don't have that time anymore.
Me? I have even less time than you, let me tell you in case you don't know. Being the mother of the bride is no easy task. My phone doesn't stop ringing all day. If it's not the wedding planner, it's a friend wanting to request something or another, insisting to be invited. Honestly, the sacrifices I'm making... This wedding has cost me friends, in case you don't know. I don't understand why your father said only 250 guests. The Jacobs are inviting twice as many.
Dad is worried about the expenses. He wants to pay his part. And Chris and his family can afford to cater for 1,000 guests or more. We can't. He is only being realistic. There is life after the wedding and he wants to be able to live that life as comfortably as possible.
I told him to take a loan. All his life, he has been going around boasting about his first daughter. Now, this first daughter is getting married, and he can't do what's needed for this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. The Jacobs offered to pay it all, but he refused. See where his pride has gotten him. So, he needs to find solutions. I must say, Helen, you did well in the choice of the groom.
Bisola Adeleke smiled at her stepdaughter with pride. And Helen decided to seize the opportunity to try to see if the woman could help her clarify some of the mental tumult she was experiencing.
Mommy, did you have doubts just before your wedding? I mean, were you 100% sure about what you were going to do?
Helen's stepmother had walked over to some of the fabrics that were for sale in the shop. Upon hearing the question, Bisola turned around with a puzzled look on her face.
Doubts? I was about to marry a widower with a 7-year-old daughter. I had 1,000,001 fears. I hadn't bargained for a ready-made family. I had always dreamed of starting one from scratch. But my mother pushed me into your father's direction. See, at that time, I had another suitor.
Really? I've never heard you speak about him. So why did you pick Daddy?
My mother insisted now. I actually was more inclined towards Dave. You should have seen him. He had a very charismatic personality. He would come, pick me up from work, and take me out to nice restaurants. He was very outgoing. But my mother didn't like him. She said if I picked him, it would be without her blessings. So I accepted your father's proposal. But she was right, you know. Dave is on his way to his 3rd marriage. Helen, chase away those fears. They are normal. As a mother, I can affirm that Chris is the right man for you.
Helen picked up on the fact that she had said as a mother and not as your mother. A thought suddenly hit her, and she frowned.
But that's what you've said about my 4 other serious boyfriends. You said they were perfect for me. And none of them ended well. Why is Chris different? Because of his family? Because of his wealth? Or the influence? Why?
Helen insisted on her line of questioning as the older woman observed her through narrowed eyes and then wagged a finger at her before speaking.
Helen, you started allowing your dark thoughts to take over your mind again. Am I a fortune teller? No, I don't indulge in all that nonsense. How was I to know that none of them would end well? It must be this character of yours that chased them away. Yes, now. Listen to me very carefully. Don't you dare do the same thing to Chris. If he cancels this wedding, you'd best make your shop habitable because your father and I will not continue to house a 34-year-old woman who refuses every suitor that comes her way. I'm leaving. You've succeeded in annoying me. I don't like any of the materials here. I'll send Angela with one. But you buy the crystals. You know how to choose them.
And with those words, Bisola turned around and walked away, murmuring something about over-pampered children who didn't know how to appreciate the sacrifices their parents made. Helen sighed, her mind going over the events of the last 10 years of her life.
How were they my fault? This woman just wants me out of her way. She doesn't care who I end up with, as long as she can get the 34-year-old spinster out of her hair. She wants me to be someone else's problem.
Decisions. What will Helen do? Thank you for listening. Helen and Co. will be back very soon with the rest of their story. Hey, don't go anywhere. Not without subscribing, liking, hitting the bell button for notification, and leaving a comment, my people.